Climate change provides its own imperative, and SMEs together represent a big source of emissions. In fact, they use 13% of all energy in the world and also give out a huge proportion of emissions as well. So that's the first reason. The second reason is that when taking action on climate change in your business, a lot of the activities that you can take will actually save money and boost staff morale. So businesses investing in new lighting will save a lot on their energy bills, for example, upgrading from halogen lights to LEDs. They'll also benefit from staff enjoying the fact that they might be able to walk and cycle to work if showers are provided. And in my experience, a lot of staff are quite committed personally, so will do things like take the recycling home with them and chuck it in their own bin if the business doesn't collect the waste on their behalf. Three projects that I used to work on were funded by the European Regional Development Fund, and they were for different aspects of the environment and the low carbon economy, and they were all trying to get SMEs to cut their environmental impact. So the first was called Sustainable Routes, and that was around sustainable transport. We gave grants of £1,000 to businesses which were match funded to do things like install bike racks or install showers to encourage cycling to work. We'd also help businesses set up home working with cloud-based IT, for example, because working from home has been shown to reduce carbon emissions, particularly if your commute is a long one by car. The second grant was called Low Carbon Workspaces, and we gave grants for kind of your standard energy efficiency investments, things like upgrading lighting to LEDs, insulation, double glazing. So they were really popular, and we were giving up to £5,000 away, so they went like hotcakes. And the last one was slightly different. It was about eco-innovation. So we supported SMEs with a new product or service that was going to help bring about carbon savings for other people. We helped one business which invented a new type of shower. So when you run a shower, for the first 10, 20, 30 seconds, often the water will run cold, and all of that fresh, sanitized water will be just going straight down the drain. But this company managed to design a new shower which collected that water and ran it back through the pipes once they'd warmed up, so you wouldn't end up with any wasted water. So we helped them promote their business and find new partners with a grant. We helped another company that worked with solar farms. So in the UK and across Europe, there are more and more solar farms being installed in fields, and what you'd have is grass growing in between those. And they saw an opportunity to increase the biodiversity and actually to have double environmental impact by reintroducing rare species and allowing meadow flowers to grow in those spaces. I think it's really difficult for SMEs to measure their environmental impact and then build the case for action. I think there are three main reasons. One is getting internal buy-in from senior management, making the case and building the business case. Often it's perceived, this is additional to what we normally do, it's expensive, it's a distraction. So presenting the case, which often these investments or these initiatives will pay for themselves over a period of time. So helping to get that business case and helping to get the support from, say, an advisor or a consultant is crucial. The second thing is then knowing what to do when you've decided to take action. There are so many different options available to businesses to cut down on their emissions, and deciding which is going to be most cost effective and have the biggest impact on the environment is crucial. So, for example, buying electric vehicles and working through that scenario and that business case, or just upgrading lighting. I mean, that's an easy one. But then thinking about the actual superstructure of your premises is very difficult, especially if you're a tenant and you have to negotiate with your landlord. It can all get very complicated. So you have the layers of understanding what will make most impact versus what's most practically feasible. The third thing is actually when you've decided to take an action, it's really difficult to know how to measure the impact. So you need to really start with a carbon footprint exercise and build up from that. At the moment, there isn't very much environmental policy targeted at SMEs. It usually excludes them and targets either big businesses or products and that kind of, or buildings. But the appetite for low carbon policy for SMEs may be changing as climate change really begins to bite. I'd love to see more policy targeted at SMEs in the low carbon sector and helping SMEs to cut down on their environmental footprint. At the moment, a lot of that comes from Brussels, the EU policy, and it's implemented in the UK. And there are lots of issues with that in terms of they over-specify the rules, they have arbitrary judgments. For example, in our projects, we weren't allowed to give grants to retail businesses because they were deemed by Brussels to be non-productive sector of the economy, which is bizarre. But going forward, what I do see the EU providing is stability in policy strategy. We've had real consistency for the last 17 years in environmental policy coming from the EU. And now it's 2017, we're guaranteed that continuity till 2020, but thereafter we don't know what the UK government will replace this funding with, this policy with. And at the moment, when I think about it, I'm not all that optimistic. The government seems to have higher priorities for SMEs, concentrating on growth, job creation, skills and exporting. And so where low carbon comes into that, I'm not sure. On a more positive note, national policy doesn't drive everything, and SMEs are incredibly innovative and bringing about new products and services in the environmental sector that will help us to get to a lower carbon economy. And also at the regional and local level, there's an awful lot going on. So there was a report in Oxfordshire that said that there is a potential for 11,000 new jobs in the low carbon goods and services sector and £8 billion injection into the economy if we grow that sector.